everybody, and can you believe it? It's season 2 of Spill the Tea Tutor Talks, and today we are joined with the person behind Luxe Learn, which is Karina, and the topic today is Dream Big.
I've been always tutoring on the side, even when I was at uni. I kind of had part-time, full-time roles at centres, at agencies, so that was part-time, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't really know that I was going to actually go into the industry. So I did my design degree. After I finished and I graduated, I started a corporate role for the local council as a project manager, and I was there for around 6 months, and I feel like it was really difficult kind of working at an office job. I feel like it just wasn't me. The 9 to 5, it kind of felt like I wasn't actually kind of going towards my potential, and it was really draining, and I could just feel like, you know, when your spark starts to dim.
Yes.
I took the decision to actually leave that job. So being newly, you know, a graduate, I actually secured that role right after I graduated as well. So I got a lot of mixed opinions on kind of a lot of people saying, just stick it out, you're new, like, you know, but when you feel something in your core that you have to kind of leave, I made that decision. So I left around May. Again, I was still tutoring, so I had like 2-3 of my own clients, and then I just thought, let me just try this. So I started to kind of get my poster out, started making a few materials, not taking it seriously, and before you knew it, I was fully booked by July that year. And then again, I was self-employed. I was doing it full-time during summer. Again, during summer, I thought, oh, it's August, everyone's going to be on holiday, who's going to get tutoring done? And then before I knew it, I was getting more and more clients, and then I got my husband involved too. So he started doing hours after, because he works full-time as an engineer, so he would do after school after school time. So even when he came back from work, so like after 6 until 9, and then he did weekends with me, and then again, a year kind of goes by, and then this the Jan that just passed, I was like, no, I do have a good feeling about this. So that's when I employed more people. So I employed 2 other tutors, and then from there I just thought, May, I kind of gave myself a deadline. So I gave myself a month to literally create the business and make it official. So create logos, all my social media links, making sure my policies, my insurances are all done, and I just kind of took the leap. And now we have a team of 11 tutors. Yeah, I know, I'm really happy with them. They're just amazing. They're just as passionate as me, and I think that's what's really important. So again, yeah, we do online face-to-face sessions. We're hitting around nearly 100 hours a week, which is amazing. And again, we're around 80 to 90 students. So yeah, we're hitting all our goals, and that's where I am now.
Thank you so much. It's amazing. And I know for anyone who's seen us before, we did an Instagram live not too long ago where we shared a little bit about your story, but it's so nice to really dig into it a little bit more as we spilled it today. So my goodness, so much has been achieved and so much hard work has gone into building this amazing tutoring business, and the passion that comes across, and the fact, you know, that you've mentioned you've got your partner involved, but then you've got your lovely tutors who are working for you. But I was wondering if we could touch upon, it's going to be like my first little question for today, which is, you're so inspired. What have been some of the challenges alongside building up your business and those that you faced at the beginning? Just wondering if you could just talk a little bit about that.
So there were a few challenges kind of along the way. So as I was kind of starting, I think having the experiences at centres and agencies, I could kind of see where the gap was. And as a tutor working at a centre, I felt like it was very commercial, and I felt really out of touch in that way, where, for example, there were lesson plans, it was very structured, and it was then really hard to fulfill the students' potential and kind of support them. So at the beginning, because when you're starting from scratch, it gets really hard to kind of find out, okay, what is the business's purpose and values? And I think thinking about that was also really challenging, because I wanted to have a business where we can, you know, support the student 100% and give our time 100%. So I think at the beginning that was really tricky. Secondly, I would say kind of the hours as well. So kind of my plan was like, when I get kind of my head on something, I just want to do it. And in terms of the way that I did the business was, normally it takes a year or two to actually build a business. And I gave myself 3 months. So I'm going to give myself 3 months. So it was really tiring, mentally draining. There was points that I was, going to sleep 3, 4 a.m., getting ready for the next day, again, kind of very cool. Because when you have things on your to-do list, it's like you just really want to get them done. And because it's also, I love my job. So again, it's not a chore. It's like doing it fast and kind of just getting it done. So then when I understood what I need to do for the business, then you have to commit more hours. So again, I didn't have a normal day. Sometimes, I was literally on my desks 12, 13 hours a day, just making sure I'm getting things done. And then kind of moving on now. So I'm not sure if you heard of PCOS.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've actually got diagnosed with PCOS a few years ago. So it's been really hard as well with that. Like, because with PCOS symptoms, how it works is you have like chronic fatigue. So you're just already drained, without basically doing nothing. You're just when it comes to, like even things like mood swings, body aches, headaches. So having to work outside of 9 to 5 and then having PCOS, I think that was my biggest challenge, because it does get quite a lot and overwhelming. So right now, because I think I've got everything in order and I'm trying to settle and kind of fix my hours, I'm able to balance it better. So I'm making sure I clock into work at least 3 p.m, not any earlier, going on walks, eating healthy. So now, because I've kind of got everything in control, I'm able to kind of start enjoying my day and actually having me time. So those were the challenges that I've come. And right now, I think when one hurdle kind of passes, it's just keeping that momentum, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure that I'm getting things done to my, of course, standard. But I think the main one right now is PCOS, just making sure that I'm taking care of my health.
Oh, it's so important, and thank you for sharing that as well. I think it's something that can occasionally be overlooked, is that we're human at the end of the day. So we'll also have other little challenges alongside our business building plans, like you say, and it's so lovely to talk about that, because wellness and well-being is something that we hear a lot. But to know that, for anyone who's listening who is perhaps in the same boat as yourself, or, has something else that's similar, we talk about fatigue, that it is achievable. But like you say, but acknowledging it is a challenge or a barrier, and you've got to work and accommodate for yourself. No, that's so important. But it's so lovely to hear and to actively see there that you are the living, breathing example of how to bring it all together, like you say. All those hours that go into it is so gosh, it is really amazing. And I think it's good for people to take stock, like you're doing right now, of all the work that you've put in and all the results that come back from it. It's
and I think also like when it comes to industry and kind of work, what I've started to realize, another challenge is individuals, let's say potential clients, asking kind of what my credentials are, because I don't have a PGC. And I think that's another challenge that I have as well, because my route is very different. I come from experience, and I think experience is also valuable, right? Because in different industries, you can get through depending on what different paths, I guess. And I think that's another challenge, is I've come from an experience route. So that doesn't diminish my credentials and kind of what I know. And I think, again, it's really hard to put that across, because there are a lot of teachers that do tutoring, and they've left the kind of school environment to pursue tutoring, which is, again, totally fine. But I think because tutoring is not regulated as teaching, it can be really hard to then explain to clients that our team are good enough to teach. So that's something that I'm trying to kind of overcome now, is kind of how can we train ourselves and to make sure that we do have credentials and kind of courses under our name. So that's what we're kind of going through right now.
Oh, and that's so lovely to hear, that kind of CPD, that actively working towards it and support and to help. But equally, when you say about experience, I know when we've chatted previously, you cover a lot of subjects, don't you, in your tutoring? And I can imagine that, yourself and your staff can each bring so many things to each subject. You know, someone will have like a talent and a skill in that area, and I can imagine if you work with any older students who are doing business or maths and economics or anything of the sort, probably a real dab hand at that, because it's, you know, part of this major cornerstone of what you do.
And I think experience is really important. Like, all our tutors are either within the industry or, you know, they've done it within, let's say, the A-levels and university degree. So, for example, I have a science tutor. He's literally doing chemistry at university. We've got math tutors that are within, you know, finance, accounting. And I think, again, it's so valuable because they're actually applying their knowledge and skill set. So even though we might not have, let's say, a teaching course or PGCE, I think it's just as important through experience. So again, like, if individuals do want to go into different trade, it's totally okay, it's totally fine, because for me, I think experience is so important because you're actually working within the field that you're actually interested in. Do you get what I mean? So all our tutors, again, they're highly passionate and they're highly devoted for what they, again, love doing, which is what they're doing in university or working kind of as, and then they're teaching that. So again, it's really important to be in the fields, I think.
Oh, definitely. And then the students that they're working with are seeing a sort of, like you say, that real life application. It's somebody who's in that field, and it's quite inspiring in that sense, isn't it? Because they can see like, oh, this person actively does what they might want to do, which is, like you say, maybe go off and study at that higher level or go into like accounting or finances. And it is nice for young people to see that, like you say. Oh no, that's really lovely. Kind of like holistic way of thinking about it, I would say. You know, it's a different approach and it's really interesting, and it's lovely to shine a light on that as well, so thank you. Which kind of brings me on to my next question, actually, which is about, you know, staying motivated. And, you know, you talked about CPD and about putting in the hours and making sure that the day works well for you. So what has helped you to kind of like keep that focus, that motivation? And equally, what would you say to any aspiring, you know, young businesswomen who are wanting to enter this field or are interested, you know, in doing something similar to yourself?
I think what keeps me really motivated, well, firstly, the students, because it's so easy to also have imposter syndrome. Like, you just can't believe that you're in that position. So sometimes I am like, you know, am I good enough? Like, am I doing the right job? But then when you see kind of the sparkle in like students' eyes, it's so nice to see, especially when it just clicks for them and like, is this just it? Is this the message? You're like, yeah, and then that's it. They kind of excel. And I think for me, when I also hear the other tutors, kind of the way that they explain, and it's so reassuring. And then on top of that, when we get amazing feedback, you know, like the parents are always so satisfied, and it's so nice to see that they're genuinely, you know, the students genuinely like to come to us. And especially sometimes parents, they kind of say, oh, my child is not even reading, they hate homework. Within 2 weeks we completely flip that. They ask for more homework, you know. And it's like these small things that, you know, it's all these small wins that kind of add up, because then the students not only progressing academically, their confidence, and it's so nice to then for us to see, right, I can do it and I will do it. And then they kind of go from, let's say, foundation tier to higher tier, moving up sets. All of these small progressions are, of course, big for them, aren't they? So I think that's what's really motivating, and also motivates tutors as well, because when we do get those messages, you know, when our students are winning awards, when they are winning, you know, let's say prizes and kind of events in school, when they do bring certificates, they just take pictures and send it to us. And it's just so nice to see that the students are feeling those wins too. And I think that's what's really motivating. And I think that's what's really important. So individuals that do want to start a business, I think it has to be fun, and it has to be not a chore, and it shouldn't feel like work. And I think what's really important, like sometimes even if I'm doing, let's say, Saturdays, you know, 9 to 9 or like a long shift, it never ever feels like work. Even Mondays, I never feel Monday blues. It just feels the same every day. And it's really, really nice. And I think even having a good team, because it's so hard for that shift, isn't it? So when you're starting off, as a one-man band and then having to hire, you have to hire those that have the same kind of spark as you. Otherwise, it just gets really imbalanced. So I think having a good team that can pull you up, because sometimes they do see me when I'm going a bit cuckoo, like hours, or what, you know, how can we fix this? How can we do this? Because it just gets. And when they're just like chill, it's okay. It just makes it that much better. So for anyone that's starting, I think just start. And you have to just get started and not think about starting. Just do it.
I like that. It's like, I think you said it at the beginning of this conversation, you know, it's like taking the leap. You took the leap and you did it. And then, like you say, along the way, having those people that match your energy, it's so important in any walk of life, but especially anything that, you know, when you're working with young people, because like you say, it is intense, and you do need those people to sort of say, you've got this, or don't worry, I'll help out on this in 5 minutes, because everybody's human at the end of the day. And it's lovely to see that and to hear it. And I can imagine there's a really lovely sort of community spirit between you and your staff and your team. And like you say, because it is intense, you give so much of your energy and your time and your thinking when working with young folk. But then, like you say, that acknowledgement, that happiness when they say that they've got it, or like you say, they come back and say, oh, I got the certificate, or I aced that test, or those little things. It keeps that spark that you talked about, it keeps it burning, keeps it alive. So that is so lovely. That is so sweet. Which brings me on to my next question, which is something I'm really excited to talk about, which is the extracurricular, because I know we've talked about it before, and as I say, I really implore anybody who's listening to check out Luxe Learn, and we'll have it all linked in and everything there, so you can have a good old snoop. But you do so much, which is so lovely, and I think quite unique. There's a lot of tutoring services that'll offer, you know, the creatives or the humanities or science, but you really touch on a lot of subjects. And I was wondering if you could just talk about that a little bit more, and, you know, some of the lovely examples or successes, or just those nice moments of the range of subjects that you tutor and support young people in.
So we basically start off with age 3 students. So that's our youngest kind of clients that we have. So it's mainly to do with kind of, you know, like if they're falling behind, or they, you know, those that are born, let's say, summer babies, and they're kind of like behind, and then with like verbal communication, handwriting control, as well as understanding numbers, and we go right until A level. So we do all subjects apart from languages. In languages, I'll find a tutor. So that's and yeah, again, we do so many subjects, or even like supporting with courses. So whether that's portfolio work, building CVs, helping with interviews, ensuring that kind of, you know, those, again, holistic learning. So we do the core subjects, so maths, English, sciences, and then we also do, again, SATs prep 11 plus. And then if we move on to A levels, we do, again, the core subjects. We do business, econ, and the list goes on for that. And then outside of tutoring, the other side of that is art sessions. So because I've got a degree in design, do like art sessions. So whether that's like Easter session, summer, Diwali, Christmas. So the students come in and we do like clay work, canvas, painting, and that's kind of like the other side of the business. And we also do things like book club, and right now my main focus is students that have SEND needs. So I feel like, again, there's just, when there's a gap, I just want to fill it. That's kind of the way that I feel. So right now there's a lot of students that have, let's say, they need support with ADHD, dyslexia, autism, speech delay, or they're just generally, you know, developmental kind of support that they need. And then we also host free SEND workshops. So any students, children that need SEND, if they have any SEND needs, they can come in, and we do like team building with art. So that's kind of the creative side. So that's what we do kind of outside tutoring. And we also host like catch-up sessions. So if there's like half term that's coming and we know that GCSE is around the corner for a lot of students, we do like catch-up workshops. Recently, we're also opening up the space for our GCSE students to come in and do like a revision session together. Again, it's free. So it's kind of like what we can do to support the students. They get this holistic approach in terms of they can work with each other.
Yeah.
need help with, and we need that space, because I know sometimes at home, at school, it can be pretty chaotic. They just need a quiet space. So that's what we kind of offer. Recently, I've got a few students that are doing portfolio work. So private schools, you know, when they do like scholarships, so helping them do portfolio work. So again, it's a range of things that we offer, and it's kind of whatever they want to kind of support with. But right now I'm taking my time to kind of train myself within SEND. I've done level 3 course, and I just want to do more courses just to educate myself on how we can help those individuals, because there's different types of learning, right? We've got like auditory, visual, verbal, making sure that we can cater to that, because again, outside of, there's a different side to tutoring, which is when it's commercialized, if they have structured worksheets, that's not going to be able to support the child. So we again lesson plan according to what the student needs. So again, it's something that we're all passionate about, you know, making sure that students don't get left behind. And also helping the parent, because it can be really hard for the parent. But when we give the reassurance that it's okay and there's nothing wrong with having SEND needs, they just have a different way of learning. And it also gives a reassurance to the parents that whatever they're doing at home is amazing, and we're just supporting. It's like another tool, right?
Yeah, so true.
So again, we've had so much feedback where, you know, there's some individuals that have been either pushed aside from centres and schools. They don't get the support, they don't get diagnosed. Diagnosis normally happens when it's very extreme. So when they come here and they're like, oh wow, like we've been looking for a place that can help us. Again, it just gives us that reassurance that we'll fill that spot for you and we'll help you. That kind of the other side of just the standard.
It's so amazing, and it's so lovely to hear the plethora of things that you do, even like how you've mentioned about the free like the workshops, you know, on the one hand giving a space for, that you mentioned about the art students, because it's so true, there are those students who can't work at home, they might not have the space, you know, they might not have the table space for it, or they get to come together, and that's such a lovely, it's nurturing that, you know, working and enjoyment of school. But then on the flip side, how you mentioned there about students with SEND and supporting them, but equally touching on the parental aspect is so important. And it's so nice how you say everything is really nurtured, it's very bespoke, it's very helping those families and those young people. You can really tell it's at the heart of everything that you do, and it's so lovely to hear. So we're really thankful for you spilling the tea with us today and talking all about your amazing journey. And I just think, and I'm sure that anyone who's listening and viewing today is so excited to see what comes next. I'm sure languages will come next. You'll have lots of people dropping in saying that they want to come join your tutoring crew. It sounds like such a lovely, happy and vibrant space, and an especially great place to work. I can imagine it's filled with lots of great energy and lots of lovely things going all around you.
A lot of love. And even if I just like, it's so nice that when the tutors are here, everyone just gets along. All the students kind of like dip and dab, and you know, they just, we all, even though the lessons are all one-to-one, well, majority of them, like you can just feel it in the space. Like, it's such a nice, joyous place to be, and it's just so nice to see, you know, the students are running up to the studio because they're just so excited to come. Like, it's just so heartwarming. So
that's so sweet. That's so lovely. Well, that concludes our Spill the Tea session today, and my goodness, what a fabulous one it has been. Well, we're going to make sure that we link in Luxe Learn and everything to do with your wonderful tutoring centre and all the work that you do, and we're really excited. If anyone has any further questions or they want to get in touch with Karina, please do. She's an absolute joy. But stay tuned. I'm sure we'll stay in touch, and we can't wait to see what else wonderful things that you get up to, Karina. So thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much.